Okay, we have ourselves a Silver Hammond. Fun hero.
Attackers incoming. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Yep, take the flank. Good. All the way around. Okay, so at this point in the match, you do know what the opposing team has because you've had a chance to press tab and see what it is, and you also, of course, know what your team is. So they're set up with dive tanks and a Sombra, so a bit divey, but then they've got the McCree in the back line there, whereas you guys are set up with kind of a split setup too, where you're dive tank plus, excuse me, you guys are dive tanks plus Sombra, whereas they are Hog Sigma, McCree with a Tracer. So they're mostly in the poke world, whereas you guys are leaning closer to the dive world. So hopefully you're communicating with your Sombra and your Winston, and you're going to go for some nice backline work here, probably easy McCree kills, maybe some work on Mercy, Moira, etc. That would be what I would expect. The other option is that you'll play heavy disrupt, and in that disruption maybe your Sombra will be able to come in, finish some things off, etc. But let's see.
This is my will.
That looks okay. Let's take a look. Where's the rest of your team? Are they all right there? Okay. Yeah, I mean, your engage timing is forced here because your monkey went in regardless. It's about a second earlier than I'd have liked. Half a second maybe, but... Um, So I don't mind. The slam is fine. You could have been closer to a target that you decided you wanted to kill to get more damage instead of just a general slam, but that's fine. And I like this big, fat adaptive shield. That is nice, but you shouldn't then be rolling out. Like, yes, your abilities are on cooldown other than grapple, but it's not time to roll out yet. You were in there. You got a giant shield. It's time to put damage into a target that you were trying to get your knock up on. So that might be McCree. If it was McCree, that would potentially be helpful because your Sombra would also like to go on McCree. McCree was who I, oh no, McCree was who I recommended from the sort of beginning that you go after here. And by rolling out, you actually put yourself on the same sightline as your Sombra. But I doubt you know she was there, so we'll get with that. You both got flashed here. That's a little funny. So yeah, generally after that slam, if you get a big fat shield like this, you don't need to be rolling out like you are. You can stay in and shoot because that a big adaptive shield you got doesn't actually feed ult charge. So you get to go through half your health before you'd be giving up any ult charge. And this adaptive shield also doesn't last forever. You've only got 6 seconds of it left, so you want to be getting some value out of it. You want to go, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to empty most or some of my clip before I start going and looking for the next thing, etc. So this would have been shoot at them time as opposed to rollout time. You are perfectly safe. Yeah, again, you haven't used your guns yet. Now you're using your guns, but now your adaptive shield is gone, right? So like you could have been in there closer, gotten some more damage with that big fat adaptive shield. Your adaptive shield was effectively worthless in that engagement, and it's a big cooldown to waste. As you can see, you've still got 7 seconds left before you get a new one. You can stay in actually. They don't have anyone who can punish you for staying in, and I don't mean stay in them, but you could have rolled out to the side and circled back behind, and you're not likely to want to engage from the same direction as the rest of your team. You want to set up. You're in a more divey team, and you want to set up a collapse, a dive from multiple directions effectively. So if when you were leaving because you were getting out scot free, just go over to the right there and kind of go back the way you originally went and be ready to hit your dive from multiple sides again. Because now you have to waste time staging again. And it doesn't take you very long because you're ball. But even better than that, your team might need some help staging. They might need you to disrupt the opposing team a little bit while they're rotating up, because the other team's got some pretty decent poke there between that Roadhog, that McCree, and that Sigma, and you don't want your team getting poked out as they're trying to rotate up to positions that they can actually take their engagement from. So sometimes they're going to need you to roll through when they're rotating through that most dangerous parts, which is kind of, from the choke to the other side of statue there. That's a place that they're just getting poked, and you might have needed to. You would have been better off if you were in a place where you could relieve some pressure on them by just doing a quick roll through. Your right clicks, your tethers are pretty short cooldown. Do a quick roll through on a couple people, finish on a health pack, and then you finish say over in Snaxaramus or whatever, and then you come back with your dive when your team's actually ready. But by being here, you were just wasting time. I don't think so. I don't think your team's going to be able to take advantage of you pile driving a Sigma. Like, knocking him up over his barrier is fine in some compositions. If you had a, say, for example, Ashe plus Zen, yeah, you knock him up, he gets Discord headshot by your Ashe, and that's decent pressure. But, A, I don't know if you communicated this. B, Mercy Boosted McCree could accomplish a similar thing, but I kind of doubt it. Your McCree's less likely to have high ground. Yeah, your McCree isn't even in a place to take the shot. So just burning your pile drive, and your pile drive has a cooldown on it. It's not something that you can just go, and it's longer than your tether cooldown. Using this here, I'm not quite a fan of it yet. You could be using it how I was talking about using the roll, which is, hey, I'm just putting a little pressure on them to help my team rotate, because, that's fair here. But if that was the case, I didn't want you booping their front line like this with Pile Driver. I wanted you putting a little more pressure, a little more elsewhere. You have to be a little careful because you don't want to get flashbanged, but you're still not going to, because if you get flashbang, you can get flashbang hooked, etc. So you do have to respect those, but you still generally would have wanted to put your pressure a little more in the back line, a little more from the side, etc. if that's what you were doing. Did you get hooked? Yeah. Ooh, and you popped your shield too early. This is gonna hurt. Okay, so your team, you getting caught like that, effectively forced your Winston to dive, is forcing your team to take this engagement when half your team isn't here yet. So that was bad. Don't do that. And you don't have your shield. Okay. This is okay over here. Your Winston's threatening from here, you're threatening from here, and your McCree's threatening from here. But better probably would have been, hey, you back off and you threaten from over here. That way you and your Winston have a nice cross angle. You're potentially also pulling eyes harder away from your McCree, who's not actually there yet. Like, you guys aren't actually seriously fighting this yet, so I think you rotating through would have been... it takes almost no time on ball, and since you're still a second away from really being in this, that would be great. Let's go back to here. And yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. I mean, it's a nice adaptive shield that you got there. I'm not a huge fan of slamming their front line in this setup. Okay. They're going for the mines. I don't like that you rolled out this direction to continue necessarily, but hey. Yeah, I don't really want you threatening from the same direction as your team here, and your Winston sort of had to swap with you because you went this way, but we'll live. Hog gets to push you all this way. I'd have preferred you made that decision harder for him, made him pick which direction to shoot. Mercy, stand Mercy. Okay, keep using your shields. You don't need to retreat yet. You had shields and you had 20 shots left, and even though your spread gets big as you keep shooting with Hamster, it's worth putting those remaining 20 shots in him while you had the barrier still up. Because your barrier does not feed ult charge. And you shouldn't have circled there. You should have swapped back to gunner mode while you had the high ground, because you knew he didn't have his hook, and you could have just been farming him in the head. Would have been great. Okay, go take space. Go take space. That's your job. The 5 of them can handle a tracer. You need to be ahead of your team already taking space. Okay. Now you're in a place where you can do things when your team is ready. Just don't go early. It's fine. She fed. Okay, so you're going to swing through and slam on one target. Is it going to be Mercy? Is it going to be McCree? What's it going to be? Okay, I don't dislike that. You knocked their tank up into your front line, and you popped your adaptive shield so you can stay in and either shoot at their back line or shoot at their back line or keep shooting at the tank. You've got a big adaptive shield here. Please shoot. Please shoot. Please shoot with this giant adaptive shield. Oh, so wasted. Such a wasted adaptive shield. So, when you're reloading, that's a good time to be in ball form because you'll reload while you're in ball form instead of having to manually reload. And when you have a bunch of adaptive shield, that's frequently, not universally, there's still good boops you can go for that are worth it, but when you have a big adaptive shield, that's usually a good time to be shooting. You didn't want to mind that? Okay. You know, mines right behind them that your team can then push into, and those mines also splitting their team could have been pretty great there. Slam it. Okay. Now we mine. Just took us 3 tries. Good. Okay, go take a flank again. You're gonna push cart? Okay, as Ball, you are Fat Tracer. You need to be on flanks and doing things. You are not. Does Tracer push cart? Does Tracer push cart? The answer is no. You're Fat Tracer. You don't suddenly spend a ton of time tracing. Okay, we could go this way. Okay. Yeah, just shoot. That help him. Peel for him. A swing through. Okay. Yeah, too late. Yeah, I mean, you basically just needed to do a swing, and then if you got stunned, immediately adaptive shield after. But swing and then get out was basically what you needed to do to help your Winston get out. The mistake was his, but you could have helped him recover from it. See, now you're using your guns more, and I like that you're using your guns a little more, but if you're using your guns, I want you on different angles. So, A, your timing isn't really right to be using your guns here because your team can't do a ton, but if your monkey's here and your team's back here, I'd want you over here shooting at them. And I wouldn't actually want you doing it yet, or I'd want you circling back here and then shooting at them so that they turn and look at you or turn and look at you and have to pick between, do I worry about this monkey that's going to jump at me, or do I try to poke out the ball that's poking me right now, etc. Now, again, your timing isn't right here when you're shooting, but I do like that I'm seeing a little more gun use. I was a little worried that you'd forgotten that that was part of your kit. Okay, not seriously. I'm exaggerating, but I'm exaggerating to prove a point. Okay. This time, I was okay with you getting out as quick as you did because your shield got shredded. And, you know, your shield getting shredded means, oh, hey, that's something I have to worry about. I can't stay in here. But I didn't want you to go out this direction because this is what we were just talking about. Your entire team is threatening them from the same direction. What if you had rolled yourself over to, instead of over with your team, you'd rolled yourself over to here, and then you could be shooting Mercy in the back. Are you going to kill her? Yeah, probably not. But it's more than a little annoying, and it sets her up where, hey, you're doing some damage to her, and then if McCree happens to land a headshot when you've poked her down a little, she could die. Or if you've poked her a little and then she gets uncomfortable and she guardian angels, and then your Winston jumps on her because that's the signal to re-engage, etc. Like, you being back here applying pressure to her, or really to anyone from back here, is much more valuable than you going over here and applying pressure from the same direction as the rest of your team. Because same direction as the rest of your team, they just get to throw up a Sigma shield, or they just get to take cover, and their cover protects them from the entire other team, whereas the cover, if it's here, doesn't protect them from you, etc. And if they turn and start shooting at you and you don't like it, you just tuck behind this corner again, or you go back and get the health back, and then you know, once your team has recovered their cooldowns, is ready to round that corner, you roll right on back through and split them, boop half of them into your team, etc. Yeah, but this isn't any good. Anyway, you've got your minefield. I assume you're going to mind slam? Okay, I can live with that. Unfortunate. You did not need both of those ults. Okay. Your team isn't really ready for that slam, but okay. You're leaving with a pretty good adaptive shield. That's a medium-large shield. Don't leave. And if you leave the other direction. Shoot them from the other side. Make them think about multiple threats. See, your Winston's got the idea. He's now having to play behind the team because you're back here. Now, ideally, you'd actually both sort of be playing behind the team, but we'll do. The more angles that you can threaten your dive from, the better. The more angles that your poke comes from, the better. Hint, a lot of Overwatch is about increasing the size and number of angles you have. Okay, go take a flank. You can go around the right side. They're not going to get you. You can also circle through left. Left is safer if you want to go far left. Okay, that works. Some unnecessary damage taken by this pathing, but it works. Winston is just wasting his bubbles. Slam it, shield it, shoot. No, you rolled back with your team again. You're killing me. It was so easy to roll back over to the right. You've got one more play. Take the flank. Good. And now you're going to do a boop slam. Yeah, unfortunate. You're spending too much time. Yeah, that's too much downtime your team needed you. Adaptive shield. Shoot, shoot, shoot. You don't need to roll away. And if you do, roll to the other side. Yeah, you're just doing the ball around the cart thing. I get it. I actually think you're early to be doing that, though. Your team is still in this fight. They don't need hard stall. They need work done. Now your team needs hard stall. Yeah. Okay. So we've got 2 major things so far. Let's,
Ready for battle.
I'm unlikely to give you more than 2 major things to work on at a time because you just won't be able to focus on 3 or 4 things, or 5 or 6 or whatever things it wants to improve on. But let's see if I reprioritize them or if I have to throw one out for something more critical.
We had an understanding. I'll be busy soon.
Don't be here. No. You do not play with your Orisa. I'm going to go draw where you need to be, and then you're going to actually be there, and I'm going to have wasted my time. So, you have a couple options. You can go hang out over here and just corner peek with your third-person cam that you have, and then you can run right through them to sort of split them. So like as their tank line walks up, their Reinhardt, for example, you knock their Reinhardt to the side, which lets your Ashen McCree shoot at the people who thought they could safely rotate up through the Reinhardt. That's a great opening move. You can also sometimes hide yourself somewhere on their side of choke, and then as the opposing team is rotating up and through, you go, okay, I'm going to hit I'm going to come rolling through for big damage and scatter you guys to the winds or push some of you forward, etc. I may push the Reinhardt forward while I don't push the rest of his team forward so that Reinhardt gets thrown in and we can kill him. You'd be less interested in that with your comp because your comp is very poke heavy. So the first option, is the better one, where it's the move the Reinhardt out of the way or slam the backline to boop them up so that your McCree, your Ashe, and your Orisa can kill people who get knocked up behind the Reinhardt, etc. Because you put your pile drive damage on them, plus you shoot them for a second or so, plus, Ashe or McCree or Orisa gets a couple headshots. You get the idea. But you don't sit here with your Orisa. You're a threat from the same direction, and you need to be increasing the amount of time that your team gets to be poking for. That means slowing them down, booping them around, spreading them out, all that good stuff. Not being here and going, oh, well, I'll, swing at them, etc. when they come through. You can swing at them, but if you're going to swing at them, you still don't want to do it from where your Orisa is. At least do it from further to the right, etc. Okay, let's go back to here.
5, 4, 3.
You also don't want them to know where you are like this. Like, they'll see you if you're sitting here behind the Orisa shield, and that removes questions from their mind, and that's bad. You want them to have more questions about what your comp is, where the 6th hero is, etc. Okay, go split them up. Go split them up. That's your job. No, don't just poke from here. You. All of your cooldowns are available. What are you poking for? So you could have split that up good. You could have slid down there and split them up. That was a messy rotation on their part. They had like half of them rotating up through roller coaster. The other half weren't there yet. You could have gone and slammed into the ones that hadn't rotated up into roller coaster yet. You could have pile drove them. You could have started working on them, and that would have given your teammates a good chance to look for an easy shot on them. Since they were slow, they were rotating behind their points, and you could have made them even slower, plus put some damage on them by rolling into him. Just stay away from Faye. She's not your friend as Ball. Yep. Yeah, we can live with that. Now oh no, dude, you don't need to leave? Oh, so much downtime. Once you were behind them, you just needed to unball and shoot them in the back. Okay. That was visible, but we won't pick on you for it. You have to go get Mega, unfortunately. Go get the health pack. They can have a tick. They can have another tick. It's way more important to give up another tick, give up even 3/4 of the point while you go get a couple minis or a Mega, and then you come back and you try to contest with you plus 3 other people. That's worth more than you going, well, I'm going to stall the point for an extra 3 seconds by myself and just stagger, etc.
Objective lost.
So they are a hard comp for you to play into right now, as I'm sure you've noticed. They're running the Mei plus the Junkrat, which means you're not going to be able to mess with their backline much. You're not going to be able to do as many roll-throughs, as many pile drives, etc. So you want to sort of be hyper aware of where those two are. Like that Mei was playing separate from the group, and that's a good sign that you're more able to go after the group because she's not with them. But if the Mei and the Junkrat are both with the group, it's pretty much suicide for you to go in. So you play even more like Fat Tracer, and you just flank around behind them constantly, and you shoot them in the back more. And you don't get to go for your big moves until you see Junkrat has already used trap, or you know where Junkrat's trap is, or you see Mei is separated, or you see a key that lets you go in. You can't just go in against this comp. You have to do more of okay, I'm going to play behind them and shoot at them from a different angle, and that's going to be the contribution I can do until I see a key factor, such as a trap down, a Mei leaving, something that makes them a little softer target that I can do some of my more normal roll slam, shield, etc. Yeah, keep her zoned. That's fine. You can go stall cart. Okay. Right idea. Now you just do it when it's helpful to your team. Orisa's using Fortify, so this is real. Don't leave. Okay, so again, you should have just shot them in the back, and once you did get that adaptive shield, you were still behind them, so you still just should have unballed and shot at them. Pressure him now. Leave. Yeah, you could have left behind you or to the left. You didn't need to leave towards an actual threat. That just cost you health. No, go up top. Create a different angle. They're distracted. You can slam. Adapt. Now you're just dead. But while they were heavily distracted, you could have slammed, adaptive shielded, etc. That was fine. You were just doing to the limit of your ability point stall, and you didn't really have a team there to have a real chance of making it work. Take the flank. Yep. Up to the left is good. And you'd like to get to the side or behind them. Okay, that's fine. You back off. Don't let them poke, if they poke at you, you just back off here. Now you rotate up again. Okay, and go disrupt them a bit. Your team, it's time for them to be in. Oh, your team's just pressing S. Unfortunate. You should have had 2 engages. Now you're only going to get 1. That was good. Now rotate up the right side. Finish behind them. Unball and shoot! Ugh. So far. You don't need to be that far away when you unball and shoot. You're a big, healthy tank. And you don't have to be very far away, because like if a Brig starts walking at you, and you're shooting her from, medium, just inside medium range, and she starts closing into close range, you just ball and roll back a little bit, and you cover distance way faster than she does, and then you unball and you continue gunning at her, and she keeps walking forward, and you ball and roll back again, and you unball and you keep gunning at her, etc. So you don't have to play so far away where fall-off damage really hurts you that hard, like it does here. You need a different angle. Yeah, swing out here. Good. And split them with the pile drive, and then... Okay, that works. Yeah. I wanted you to actually... You'll still get out here. Build some momentum. I wanted you to play to the left around that corner with the bit there, but hey. No, don't group with your team while Tire's going. You were like baiting that Tire towards your supports. You rolled and joined your supports, which is like, yes, come Tire where you'll get damage potentially on 3 of us instead of just 1 or 2. Like, no. Yeah. Again, you don't belong in your own backline as Ball anyways. Okay, focus the junk. You might be able to get a kill on the junk. Yeah, you needed to go gunner mode there and try and force that. Shoot at the purple targets. The purple Junkrat was a great target. The full health Rein, probably not. Mega was right over there. Just saying. Your Ball, you're really fast at going and getting health backs that aren't far away. Okay, so I am still going to make the focus the 2 things that we brought up primarily in the first round. Those are going to get you the most value, and that is your adaptive shield use. When you get a big fat adaptive shield, it is not time to leave. You can roll away a tiny bit, behind them at a different angle and shoot at them, but it is not time to leave. Your adaptive shield is not feeding them ult charge, and it's a long cooldown. So if you just go, okay, I did my big roll, slam, etc., adaptive shield, now I don't have any cooldown, so I'm going to leave. No, it's not time to leave. It's time to shoot a little bit, do some tracking, get some damage on a squishy, etc. And the other big thing, and this will dovetail nicely with the adaptive shield usage, is when you don't have cooldowns, or when you're backed out a little bit, but your team is still fighting, you do not want to go, okay, let me leave and wait for cooldowns. You go, let me roll out a little bit behind the team at a different angle from my allies, and let me just shoot them at the back from relative safety. So I'm just going to shoot them from relative safety until I've got some cooldowns back, and then maybe I'll go through for another roll through, or another roll slam, or another roll adaptive shield, whatever cooldowns you have at that point. But when you have no cooldowns, or when you've used 2 of your 3 cooldowns, it's not time to leave. It's time to it's time to stay if you have the adaptive shield. But even if you don't have the adaptive shield, go out at a different angle from your team if the fight is going on, and shoot them in the back and the side, whatever the case is going to be. If you do those things, that's going to be huge. You're going to get a ton. Those are fundamental Ball things, and they'll really help. Anyway, that's what I've got. If you want another session, or if anyone else wants a session, you can reach out to me on YouTube comments, Twitter, Discord, any of those you can find me, and I'm happy to offer either VOD reviews or private coaching, and we'll figure out what that's going to cost for you. Thanks, guys. Tim Portal out.